Burn! Triple decker burn!
We are live from the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. There's a sellout crowd, of course, a wild air of anticipation. The undefeated Chicago Bears are in town to meet the Miami Dolphins. There have been 3 undefeated teams in the NFL over the years. The Bears have a pair of them. The last to be undefeated were the 72 Dolphins. 14-0 regular season. They went to 17-0 with a victory over Washington in Super Bowl VII. The offensive set with Nat Moore in it, that was so successful in the first half, is on the field now for 3rd down and 6. Duper, Moore, and Clayton. Out of the way. Into the arms of Clayton. Oh, and are things going right for the Dolphins tonight? 42-yard touchdown. Batted into the air at the line of scrimmage. This is vintage Monday Night Football. Dwight Stevenson remains the center, even though in pain with the right shoulder injury for the Dolphins. Marino gets the pressure, but he gets it to Nat Moore. And there are quarterbacks who bring magic to a football team. McMahon is a type of quarterback, a Bobby Lane, if you will. Pardon me, Joe. A Joe Namath, if you will. Final seconds ticking off. Bears will not go undefeated, but they have put life and a spark into football in general and Chicago in particular. What a victory for the Dolphins. And Dan Marino reigns supreme once again. Peyton on the night will wind up with 121 yards.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio covers the whole SEC the whole season long.
Down. Here's Tua stepping back, loads up, looks long, throws, end zone, touchdown! Alabama! Devontae Smith! Touchdown, Alabama! And the Crimson Tide has once again ascended to the top of the college football mountain.
Again, it's going to be Crapel, wing, and the kicker, Drew Alamo. LSU remains undefeated.
Passes away, penalty flag down. Lamar Thomas has got it. Lamar Thomas is on his way down the sideline. George Teague is after him and runs him down. Takes the ball away from him. Teague's got the ball.
Well, congratulations to the LSU Tigers, the 2008
BCS National Champion.
Armchair.
Oh, please, not the Ashbys. Family emergency? Apparently his soul hurt.
What kind of bear is best?
It's a ridiculous question.
False. Black bear.
Well, that's debatable. There are basically 2 schools of thought.
Fact. Bears eat beets.
Oh.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Bears do not... What is going on? What are you doing?
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year.
Michael!
Oh, that's funny. Michael?
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
And backpedaling, Lawrence flips it open, wide open. Justin Ross up and running. The Alabama native wins the foot race. And Clemson strengthens its grip on this championship game. Wow, gut punch by Clemson right there. Akers makes free. Cam Akers in the clear. Foot race. And they finally shut him down at the 5. The electric play the nose needed. He wants another deep shot. Drops it in. It pitched it to Cersei. Cersei launches into the end zone. And the Yellow Jackets score again.
Armchair Quarterback Radio is ACC country.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Are you okay, pal?
Had a rough day on the job.
Good morning. Welcome to Gators and Golf on Armchair Quarterback Show live. We're coming to you live from the Armchair Quarterback Studios on a Wednesday morning. A little different. Tony had some obligations that preceded this, so we're getting. It's actually, I think, Tony, it's a good thing. We're going to do this show before the U.S. Open even begins, so we can get your hot take on it before you see a round and give it and tell us who you think's going to play well. How are you this morning, sir?
Those takes are hot, let me tell you. So, yeah, in fact, yeah, if you want to do this for the Open Championship next month, that's fine too. So, but yeah, good to be here on a Wednesday, and thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So let's go ahead and dive into. So the big thing that everyone is making a big deal about is the fact that Koepka and DeChambeau are not being paired together.
Right.
And I mean, they must have rattled that up. That scrolled across the ESPN bottom line all day long yesterday. And then every single one of their shows reacted to it. And there were some schools of thought that thought it wasn't a big deal and they shouldn't kowtow to DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka's rivalry. And then others thought that the PGA just totally dropped the ball, which I'm on that for. Look, if you got a rivalry and these guys are both good, it's fun to go ahead and put them in together and just let them fight it out the first round, especially of a major championship. What say you?
I think it would have been fun. There's no doubt about that. The USGA runs this, and this one tournament, and they've got their own formulas for their groups, at least for the most recent defending champ and all that. So they would have had to go outside the box for that, and that's the biggest thing I think that why they wouldn't do it. Brad Faxon came out yesterday, and I guess he's an analyst for NBC, and he told whoever was listening that the agents for both DeChambeau and Koepka were approached about it, and neither golfer would admit that yesterday. And I really don't think that happens. I mean, basically, if you're the defending champion, you're playing with the U.S. amateur champion, and that's the kid from Georgia Tech, who I forget his name. And then you're also usually playing with another recent major champion from the past calendar year, and that's the formula that they use. Now for Koepka, they put him with I think Morikawa and Justin Thomas. So you've got 3 prior major champions in that group as well. So the U.S. Open isn't the one for them to decide to do that, mostly because some of their groupings are already set in stone just based on their tradition of the past champion playing with the U.S. amateur champion. That's one of the, I mean, years ago, if you won the U.S. amateur, you were playing with Tiger basically in a lot of these majors. So that's how that goes. But yeah, I'm with you. It would have been fun. It'll happen one day, I think. The funniest thing to me is they've got them on opposite sides of the course, and one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So you couldn't put DeChambeau and Koepka any further apart than they are.
Yeah. So it's like they're trying to keep them apart, which I don't think is a great idea because it's a television show. So you want people to watch. Why don't you want them to watch? It's not like they're going to duke it out. And if they did duke it out, how great would that be? I mean, how fun would that be, man? Two literal heavyweights just pounding each other into the sand. I mean, how great would that be? But I just don't get it as a sports fan, why they wouldn't want to lean into it a little bit.
Yeah, I think it all depends on, other tournaments. The PGA decides the threesome, the pairings and threesomes in the first couple rounds. So I think eventually it'll happen. I mean, they're both golfers that get ratings, they get attention. I think they both genuinely do not really like each other, but they also know that how the game is played, and I think they can play it up on each other as well. So. We might see it a little bit later on in the year at just a regular tournament, but it is kind of a shame. I get rivalries. Rivalries should be fun. Maybe they play it up a little bit too much, because I have a feeling if they're both in what I do want to see, and I'm not picking either one of these guys to win this weekend, but I would love to see them in like the top, maybe the final 3 pairings on Sunday together, and just see how that unwinds. Because the leaderboard, unless somebody runs away with this thing. The leaderboard is going to be jam-packed headed into Sunday with some pretty close to par scores, I think.
I'm hoping that either on Saturday or Sunday, it organically forces itself to be there, because if not, then I think we get robbed of it. It's really going to be a dudder if one of them doesn't even make the cut.
And that's up to them as golfers. I mean, if you want your shot at the guy you don't like, then be at the top of the leaderboard on headed into Sunday and hope he's there too. So if both guys barely make the cut and they're teeing off at noon Eastern time before coverage starts, then we might not see them.
Well, unless, like, okay, for instance, if let's say you're Koepka and you want your chance at DeChambeau and you play really well, but he doesn't, you might have done all you can, but
right.
he has the point is you just want to see them together, because at some point no one's even going to care about the golf. They're going to care about the interaction between the two. And so you're going to be looking, you're going to be trying to read, and I'm sure nothing would be said, and they played their own game, but there'd be the tension there of, especially if and have them mic'd up. Can we get them mic'd up? I mean, to me, that's what would make golf much more exciting for the fan who doesn't typically watch golf, for the fan who isn't going to be dialed into the U.S. Open. And I'm talking about your person who, okay, so I watch the majors and I watch some of the other, I'll watch the Memorial, I'll watch the TPC. I would watch Torrey Pines whether or not it was U.S. Open or not. But I'm talking about the fan that is like, I don't even really give a crap about golf, but I got to see this.
And
exactly. And then you could create a fan.
Right. And throw in, it's in California, so I don't know what they're doing for attendance. I know fans will be allowed to some point, but the fans too of what have made Koepka and DeChambeau more fun over the last few months too. I mean, you've got, I forget what tournament was a few weeks ago, Koepka didn't play, and fans were chanting his name as DeChambeau was, trying to figure out what he was going to hit from the tee box. So I think the fans have kind of helped make this a rivalry too. And you've got, Koepka goes on, guys were getting kicked out of the Memorial for kind of acting the fool and chanting Koepka's name at DeChambeau. And I think Koepka went on social media and offered to buy everybody a case of Mick Ultra if they could show proof that they were kicked out of the tournament. So, like I said, the guys know how to play the game. And, this day and age in the PGA Tour, they came out with this kind of plan a few weeks ago to give bonuses to like the top 10 guys who, kind of move the needle, whether it's on social media or whether it's on the course or in the community. And I think these two are kind of vying for that a little bit with some of the showmanship.
By the way, the whole thing where Rahm had to come out of the tournament because of COVID. And I don't understand something about it. Why could they not? Because we kind of debated this that Monday, but you weren't here for it. Why the hell could they have not, since he had finished the third round, and that's already done, right? And he's leading going into the fourth and final round. Why the hell couldn't he go out an hour or two before everybody else and play? Because I had a doctor's appointment that week this was going on. I asked my doctor, and they said, look, don't quote me on this, but I would say the reason why he had symptoms was because he just took the first part of the vaccine. And that they tell you once you take the vaccine, there's a good chance that you're going to test positive for any kind of COVID test for the next 3 months. So first of all, I don't understand why he was even taking it if he had his first jab. He should have been exempt. You shouldn't need both because you're already starting the process. And then the other thing, obviously, why the hell didn't they just put him out there by himself 2 hours before everybody else, 3 hours? I guarantee he would have got up and done it because this tournament obviously meant a lot to him, not just money wise.
Oh yeah. And he would have probably ran away with it because he's playing in the morning when the conditions aren't, probably nearly as difficult. The greens are a little softer and he doesn't have a big crowd following him probably that early in the morning. But I guess I think to me it was just a CYA move by the PGA Tour. I think they couldn't let it get out. If he won the thing, they couldn't let it get out to the other guys that he played with COVID or COVID symptoms, as much BS as the reasoning was. But yeah, I think it was kind of a cop out by the PGA Tour. I get that they're following protocol, but
I think I would sue their ass if I'm John Rahm. I would. I'm looking at it from just a logical standpoint. I'm getting my COVID vaccine. I'm in the middle of it. You tell me I'm tested for COVID. Of course I'm tested for positive for COVID because I'm in the middle of getting my damn vaccine. What? That's what they do. They literally put COVID into your body. Why the hell wouldn't I test positive for COVID? And you cost me $1.7 million, not to mention the fact that this thing meant a lot to him. He probably could get $5-10 million in a freaking settlement with the PGA backdoor. Because if I'm him, I sue their ass because I think they are absolutely to blame for this. It's a terrible look.
Yeah, I think it was definitely, like I said, a ball drop by the PGA Tour. It was a total, CYA move for them. But, now, I don't know if it helps him this week or not, but he seems to be the odds-on favorite to go ahead and knock it out at Torrey Pines, win his first major. He's won there before. Always really played well there. So we'll see what he has. I mean, obviously he'll have a chip on his shoulder, and I'm with you. He'd be pretty pissed if they took that away from me. And not only that, they told him right there on the 18th green as he's walking off. Like, how crappy is that?
What was that about? And then put their hands on. It'll be okay. I thought you said I had COVID. Why are you not doing it from from 7 feet away?
And Jim Nance is like, well, I don't know what they just told him, and then they go to commercial and that's the end of the broadcast because it was Saturday and they got to get out there before local news. I'm like, well, they could have just told him his mom passed away or something. Like, who the hell knows what happened?
Yeah, they could have reacted. Yeah, they could have told him, you have literally 3 minutes to live. We just found out you've been hit by a poison dart.
And it would have been the same reaction as the one he gave about not being in the tournament. So yeah, crushing for him. He's a hard-nosed guy though, man. He's got that, like, people compare him to Seve because they're both from Spain, but tough guy. And it's hard not to pick him this weekend. I kind of found a way not to, but he's as good as anybody at Torrey Pines.
Well, he's made me a fan because I'm definitely pulling for him for the rest of his career because he held it. Look, I wouldn't have been that gracious. I'd have been throwing dogs, flipping over tables.
Yeah,
that's just stupid.
You would have had to drag me off of that green.
You would have, especially the next morning. What are you doing here? I'm going to play a round of golf by myself. Right. I got here 3 hours before any of you jackasses, and I'm going to prove. And by the way, I've got my caddy videotaping the whole thing. I'm going to prove that I won this championship. Morons.
Hell, he could have even carried his own clubs.
Right, or that. Hell, you're up six shots early in the morning, full of piss and vinegar. I'm sure you could just. Yeah, exactly. I would have done it. There's no way I would have found a way. I'm going to prove I won this championship. Whether they give me credit for it or not, I don't give a damn. I'm going to prove I won it. Speaking of win, place, and show, who do you got this week?
Maybe I'm an idiot. I keep going back to Rory. Rory has played really, really well at Torrey through the years. I know it's not. The Torrey that we see in the early part of the PGA Tour schedule. They grow out the rough for this. They make some changes, but he's always played there really well. He's strong enough to get it out of the thick rough, which the rough it's US Open rough. Don't get me wrong, but at Torrey, there's different spots where like you can hit it in the rough and still get a pretty good lie. So if he could take advantage of that with his iron play, I think Rory will play well here this weekend. The other guys I have written down, Hovland. Victor Hovland, be a good time for him to get his first major. He's played well in the majors lately for a young kid, and he's obviously played Torrey Pines before. That's what makes this one unique, and what makes when they have it at Pebble Beach, it's unique there too because these are courses that are on the schedule every single year, and while they don't play the same, it's the same layout, plus or minus yards and plus or minus thick rough. And then for my third, it was kind of a toss-up really between DeChambeau and Rahm. The only reason I'm not picking Koepka is I still don't think the knee's ready, and you got to have both legs to hit the ball out of the rough at the U.S. Open. And it was kind of a toss-up between DeChambeau and Rahm. I'm gonna coin flip it, I guess, and go with Rahm. DeChambeau's iron play hasn't been that great the last couple months. Rahm's a strong kid. He's good at getting the ball out of the rough, just like DeChambeau was last year at Winged Foot. And he's got a lot of momentum right now. Plus what we were talking about, he's probably playing a little chip on his shoulder, and that's when he plays his best. And we'll see that at the Ryder Cup in a few months. So I'm going to go McIlroy, Hovland, and Jon Rahm. Rahm's the odds-on favorite. McIlroy, like I said, I keep going back to him, but he plays Torrey really well. And if he can just avoid the blow-up.
They are going Rahm, not DeChambeau.
Right. And that was a coin flip for me. They're right. they're both right there. The only difference is I think Rahm's played better lately. As much press as DeChambeau gets, he hasn't been accurate on his approach shots, at least like in these kind of tournaments lately. But he's the defending champion, and you never know with him. Only reason I'm not picking Koepka is because of his knee still. But it's a fun when it's at Torrey and when it's at Pebble, it brings everybody into play because all these guys are very familiar with the course. So just those differences in setup make it unique.
Well, I'm going to go with the sentimental pick. I'm going to go ahead and grab lefty Phil Mickelson to win it and get that off his back. He's playing well. This is his home. If he's going to do it, there's no excuses. This is the one he does it in, because that clock's not getting pushed back any further. He needs to do it now. I will go Rahm second, just because I'm pulling for the guy. He was playing great, and I feel like he's going to be very motivated. And then the third one, I'll go off the beaten path a little bit and grab Tony Finau. And
yeah, Finau's a good pick. He's another one that's played Torrey Pines well. He's done well in majors. He just, when it gets to Sunday, he just has to make that next step.
Yeah, I did some research on the third one. Rahm and Phil were more like, gut feelings, and I really like the way he plays Torrey, and he's got to break through at some point. And so he's that guy when he first started showing up pretty regular. I was like, who the hell is this guy? I wasn't even sure how to pronounce his name when we would first see him a few years back. And now I've got to where I'm pulling for the guy, and so that's who. That's what I got there. We got to dive into College World Series because we're going to run out of time here in a second. So we didn't even make it to 2 in barbecue. You and I are just going to watch as everyone's going to have fun playing in Omaha. I hate the fact that they don't start it at Fridays anymore. I've said this before. I liked it when they used to start the College Baseball World Series on Friday, and you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I just thought it was more organic that way. The Saturday 2 p.m. start is weird. It's a weird time to start a championship. But we get Saturday, we get NC State Stanford. And then Saturday night, we get Arizona Vanderbilt, which should be a lot of fun. And then, of course, Sunday, the night game is the big one, Texas and Mississippi State, because you got two seeded teams facing each other in that one, and Virginia at Tennessee. That's an interesting one. Who are you favoring to win it all, by the way?
I mean, it's tough. Vandy and Texas would be my finals matchup. It's tough to go against Vandy unless somebody gets to either lighter or rocker in game 1 or game 2. As soon as you win the first 2 games, you're pretty much done for a few days, and then somebody's got to beat you twice. Either Thursday or Friday. So it's tough not to pick Vanderbilt to win it all. At an NC State and Stanford, I'm not totally surprised NC State's there. That was a crazy series against Arkansas. I think Arkansas won the first game like 16-2, and then North Carolina State won 2 nail biters after that.
They're playing well.
Okay.
Well, Florida State lost a series up there
this
year in Raleigh, and I was disappointed. I didn't know they were this good at the time.
Yeah,
they're playing well. I have not watched Stanford play. I have not watched. I watched Arizona play 1 game, and I'm just going straight homer pick. I'm taking the Vols, and I'm taking Vandy to meet an all Tennessee World Series.
That'd be nuts.
Which would be a lot of fun. But
not even sure who I'd root for in that one,
but the one team that I think could bust it all up would be Texas. But I haven't watched them enough. I think I've caught 3 total games the entire season, and I'd be lying to say that I caught it first pitch to last pitch. So I'm going more off of the stats that I read on, and Mississippi State seems like a gritty team as well. I think Virginia played above and beyond what they are actually capable of, and the fact that they're even in this thing is a miracle, much more than the NC State. And though they've got the lineage, I don't think Virginia is going to make it very far. With that being said, your 2021 national champion Virginia Cavaliers are going to be right there beating me in the head all week long. But I just don't see Tennessee puts pressure on you by putting the ball in play.
Yeah, I think Virginia's an interesting story just because they were kind of left for dead about a month and a half ago and rallied back, won some games in a row. And then like looking at their regionals and even in the supers, I mean, they had a big walk-off against Old Dominion to win it. They had a big walk-off over the weekend to get out of that super regional against, I forget who they were playing, but I can't even remember who they beat, but it was a walk-off. Virginia. They've got another walk. Like they've had like 3 walk-offs in the last like 2 weekends.
Oh crap! It was the South Carolina regional.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'll think of it as soon as we're done. But Stanford really did surprise me, though. Lubbock's a tough place to play. Texas Tech puts up a lot of runs, and Stanford really, that was not even a contest in that regional. I mean, they pretty much just destroyed them.
Old Dominion.
That's right. Yeah. And but for Arizona, I haven't watched them a lot either. I know they beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss just kind of they just don't have the pitching. Ole Miss is all bats, and that's it. But I think that Texas Mississippi State, I think out of the 4 matchups, I think that's the best game. And then
Ole Miss fan base is nothing but a bunch of D-bags anyway. So I'm fine with Ole Miss getting knocked. They are just douches, man. I mean,
I'm curious to see if that coach at Ole Miss ends up at LSU here in the next week or two. Now that both seasons are over. But no, that was awesome. I was happy that Tennessee knocked out LSU. The biggest thing for Tennessee, they hit a lot of home runs in that ballpark in Knoxville, and a lot of those home runs are long flyouts in Omaha. So you've got to be able to hit it to the gaps and keep the ball on the ground and go for base hits when you can. So that's the biggest adjustment Tennessee is going to have. But if you lose one of the weekend games, you're in serious trouble unless you've got some great pitching. So sooner you can win the first 2 and move on to Thursday, Friday, then you got a great chance to make it to the championship.
So my walk off to you really quick, we're running out of time. There was a Twitter war going on when Florida State was playing Ole Miss, and undoubtedly there's always some hillbilly that chimes in with, and don't quit using the chop. That's the Braves. Be original. And this idiot did that. I was like, dude, Florida State preceded that for like 10 years before the Braves. So I had to school him a little bit, and then he immediately deleted everything and blocked me. And so, I was like, you dink. I was like, this is typical. I went to an Ole Miss game years ago in Oxford, and they're the biggest dinks on the planet, where they're wearing the freaking ties and the cotillion dresses to go to a football game. But what's your walk-off?
It's gonna be a great weekend, man. Lots of college baseball, lots of golf in prime time, which is awesome. We'll get that, I guess, till 9 or 10 o'clock probably on Saturday and Sunday. So should be a blast, and it's only Wednesday. So if I can get through the next couple of days, we'll be there for the weekend.
All right, we're gonna be firing up the Armchair Quarterbacks live here in just a minute. Tony, great job. Enjoy the golf weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.
All right, man. Take care.